Oh, we're the men of Texaco. We work from Maine to Mexico. There's nothing like this Texaco of ours. Our show tonight is powerful. We'll wow you with an hour full of howls from a shower full of stars. We're the merry Texaco men. Tonight we may be showmen. Tomorrow we'll be servicing your cars.
Our opening show tonight is This Is Your Life, created by host Ralph Edwards. It premiered on television in 1952 and remained on the air for 9 years. The show used a simple format of surprising an unsuspecting guest and informing him or her that this is your life. The subject then watches their life unfold before them. The many people who affected their lives are paraded before them and a nationwide audience. Tonight's show surprises legendary filmmaker Mack Sennett. Watch the talented Keystone Cops creator enjoy the gathering of the people in his past. Here now is This Is Your Life.
This is Your Life, America's most talked about program. Brought to you by new Liquid Prel, the liquid shampoo that's extra rich. That's why it leaves your hair looking radiantly alive. Now, here he is, Mr. This Is Your Life himself, Ralph Edwards.
Hello, welcome again to This Is Your Life. Thanks a lot. Our principal subject for tonight is not in our audience here at the El Capitan Theater. A lot of wonderful people here, but our principal subject is not there in the audience. He's in a soundproof dressing room off stage, right over here, waiting to appear on the Hollywood portion of a New York television show called So You Want to Write a Book. Now, that's what he thinks. With him is Mr. Cameron Shipp, well-known contributor to the Saturday Evening Post and biographer of such famous personalities as Billy Burke, Lionel Barrymore, Lana Turner, and many others. Now, Mr. Shipp is currently preparing a biography of our principal subject to be entitled King of Comedy, and soon to be published. Who is it? Well, let's find out right now. Please tell our guest that New York is about to switch in Hollywood. Will you do that? Bring them on stage, please. Now, quiet, everybody. We don't want to tip our hand until they're actually on stage. And here they come now. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to have you meet Mr. Cameron Shipp. And would you bring a gentleman with us, Mr. Cameron Shipp. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sennett, my name is Ralph Edwards.
Oh,
how do you do,
well,
sir?
my favorite.
Well, let me. I could go on for hours about how much I admire you, sir. I've been an admirer of yours since childhood. And as a matter of fact, you didn't expect to find me here.
I certainly did.
In the book review you're going. Well, your good friend Cam here and a lot of others have conspired with us to get you here so that we could tell you that tonight, this is your life, Mack Sennett. We got him, Cam. We got him. All about it. Hi. Mr. Sennett, come along here.
Well, I don't.
I know. He doesn't know. Cam, you've sprung the trap beautifully. There really is no program called So You Want to Write a Book, Mr. Sennett. That was just an excuse, our way of springing a surprise on you. We're going to relive your life with the actual people who played important roles in it. And what an array that is. Thank you very much, Mr. Cameron Shipp. Without you, we couldn't have done it. Thank you. We'll be looking for the publication of King of Comedy. But right now, why, you, are we still friends, I hope? Come and sit down here and take your place of honor here,
Have you
sir.
ever been pulled in all my life?
Sit here, sir. Let us share with you the full, productive years of a lifetime devoted to making people around the world forget their troubles in laughter. An inspiration to young and old alike. This is your life, King of Comedy indeed, Mack Sennett. originated and made famous by you, Mack Sennett, in 1914. But they're way ahead of themselves. This is only 1880. January 17th, the day you, Mack Sennett, are born in Richmond, Quebec province in Canada. One of 4 children of John. He's still in a state of shock, I think, here.
Good I am.
One of 4 children of John and Kate Sennett, which makes you real young fella and doing fine, still playing golf every day. I understand?
Yes, I'm playing golf every day, but not tonight. That's it.
1897, your family, Mack Sennett, settles in Northampton, Massachusetts, where your father was a building contractor, wasn't he?
Yes.
And your mother ran a boarding house.
Yes.
Your formal schooling over at an early age. Mr.
Yes.
Sennett, at 17, you were pounding rivets 10 hours a day in a boiler factory.
Right.
The American Iron Works.
Right.
At $1.50 a day.
Right.
And at night, Mac, his sister, and I used to gather around the piano in his mother's boarding house. And we sang everything from the arias of operas to the current musical hits. Do you remember that, Mac?
Oh,
Oh, my God.
I'll bet you do remember.
I remember it, yeah, but...
Yes, but the voice.
Who's the voice?
You were kind of sweet on her when you were just 17, Mack Sennett. She played that piano at the boarding house as well as at the Cook Theater in Northampton. You last saw her in New York in 1906. In your busy life, you've lost track of her for 48 years, but you remember her well, I think.
The voice.
Here she is from Northampton, Massachusetts, Mrs. Rose Guilfoyle.
Oh! Oh, my golly. My first girlfriend. Oh, this is...
Now, look, were you aware at all of Mr. Sennett's interest? It's Mrs. Clark now, Mr. Sennett. Yeah, it's still Rose and Mac. Were you aware of his interest? Mm-hmm.
Well, we were very good friends.
Her mother and my mother had it all planned. Didn't they, Rose?
Well, I don't know about
Oh,
Mac.
I know they did.
We saw a lot of each other.
I know.
But Mac was very shy.
Oh, he
very
was?
retired.
I know.
You were aware of his voice, though, weren't you?
Mac had a beautiful voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was very, very
He was
funny.
going on to New York to study, wasn't he?
That's right. He went to New York to study voice.
Yeah.
Going to be in the Metropolitan Opera House, eh?
Well, well, his fortune took another turn, but he did have a great voice, and thank you, Mrs. Rose Guilfoyle Clark.
Tell me, how are you? Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Really good.
Well, you're going to see her at the party. This is only the beginning, Mr. Sennett. My
Really?
goodness. Mrs. Clark, you sit over the... Down, boy, down here. She's been staying at the hotel where all our This Is Your Life guests always stay, and that's right across the street from where you live, and you didn't know it,
I
Max.
didn't know. I didn't really know.
Look out here. What's going on? Hey, You went that way. Over here. There goes the chase again, right through your life, Max Sennett. 1902, the beginning of your fabulous show business career. Nothing much came of your operatic aspirations, did it, Mr. Sennett?
No.
For a time, you're a chorus boy for Eddie Foy in Piff Paff Poof at the Bowery Burlesque Theater. And then in 1905, you transfer your talents to Victor Herbert's Broadway hit, Mademoiselle Modiste. You don't need to be told who that is, do you, Mr. Sennett? Fritzy Sheff. Fritzy Sheff, whose name and voice always will be associated with the Victor Herbert era, the unforgettable star of Mademoiselle Modiste, whom you haven't seen in nearly 50 years. Here she is from New York City, Fritzy Sheff. Here's
Wonderful.
Oh, you don't know how happy to be here. And to see him again after all these long years.
Do you remember Victor Herbert?
Oh, well, of
playing the
course, I was
piano?
just going to say that.
Oh.
I mostly remember him in the chorus of Mademoiselle Modiste.
Yes?
Because he stood right behind me.
Is that where you stood?
Goodness. I'll tell you something about this chorus. You know, I was never very much of the dancing part. I couldn't dance well. But I always got a job as a singer. I had a lot of voice.
He had a beautiful voice.
He did?
And he was also a very nice dancer.
Even though the great David Belasco took one look at his feet and advised him to go back to the boiler factory.
But we all thought that he had a great future and that he would go far.
Yes.
But of course, none of us
how far he would go.
Well, thank you.
God bless you, and good luck to you always, Max Sennett.
Let me think.
Thank you. British Chef, your name and your great voice will linger in our memories always. Thank you so much. Oh, Max Sennett, you're barely launched in show business here in the early years of the 20th century. The era of the flickers is about to dawn, and a procession of events, of pictures, and of people in your life awaits us. But first, hang on. Let's listen to this wonderful news.
Hair that looks radiantly alive makes a woman feel radiantly alive. Now at last, there's a liquid shampoo that's extra rich to give your hair that radiantly alive look. It's new Liquid Prell. New Liquid Prell does wondrous things for hair. There's a glorious difference between Liquid Prell and all other shampoos. New Liquid Prell is extra rich. That's why it leaves hair looking radiantly alive. Some other shampoos are thin and watery. Some too thick and sticky. They can actually dull your hair. But extra rich Liquid Prell is just right, with radiant beauty in every drop. To keep your hair looking radiantly alive, use extra rich Liquid Prell.
Back to This Is Your Life, Max Sennett, the career of a genius who early found his niche in a new medium of entertainment and rose to the unchallenged eminence of King of Comedy. Oh! There we go again. Well, boys, look out! Be careful! Steve! Oh, Steve! Steve! Steve, boys, look out! Isn't this ever going to stop, I want to know? Here, that away! 1909, January 17th. This is your 29th birthday, Max Sennett. Can you think what else happened on that day? Your 19th birthday, didn't you get a job as an extra with the Biograph Company? Biograph Company. At $3 a day. Yeah.
I was a young director back in 1909 when I first met Mr. Sennett, then in the old Biograph studio at 11 East 14th Street.
You recognize the voice, Mr. Sennett?
Del Henderson.
A dear friend of yours through all these years who worked with you and for you when you were just getting started, Del Henderson. And here is the fine man now.
Well, I never in all my life got such a surprise. How are you, Del?
I'm fine. How are you?
I don't know. I think I'm all right. How do you think I am?
When did Max Sennett first come to Los Angeles, Mr. Henderson?
Well, we came out here in 1910 with Mr. D.W. Griffith. Max thought that California was a great place to make pictures.
Yes, sir.
So when he got the bankroll, he wanted to build a studio in Edendale. Used to be known as Alessandra Street.
Yes, and that's where the famous Keystone Cops were born.
That's where they were born. You see, Mac had an idea that there was lots of comedy to be found in policemen. So that's, nobody would believe it, but he proved it.
Yes. They found it out. Didn't take long to prove how right Max Sennett was.
Listen, you didn't tell him about the wearing my shoes, did you?
No.
The time you broke in his shoes? He told me back in the dressing room, and I said, if we told all the Max Sennett stories, the lore of Max Sennett could fill 2 hours.
He wore these shoes, and he says, my feet are wrong, still wrong. How are they
They're
now?
still wrong, and I'm living.
Yeah. But the shoes belonged to him, but he pretended to leave so he could keep the shoes. Is that right? Well, you'll never know the story. I wish you could come to the party afterwards. Hey! Now listen, wait a minute here. Wait just a minute here. This has gone far enough. Well, Del Lord.
The old champ.
Del, what are these?
The greatest comedy director in the business, serial comedy director, and
Thank you,
that
Max.
takes a lot.
But what are these Keystone Cops after you for, Del?
Well, you see, I used to be one of them. So then I started directing, and I insisted on throwing those pies.
Yeah.
So they've been chasing me ever since.
What, not for 40 years. Now, wait a minute, fellas. Whoa, fellas, come here. Now, take it easy here. Just a minute. You've been chasing Del Lord here so hard, you haven't even noticed your old boss here. Here's Vernon Dent. Vernon Dent, ladies and gentlemen. Heine Conklin here. Hank Man, ladies and gentlemen, Hank Man. And look here, Andy Clyde.
Oh, Andy
Clyde.
I mean.
And Chester Conklin here.
you look so nasty.
The most famous group of comedians in motion picture history, each a star in his own right, the Keystone Cops and their creator, Mack Sennett, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all of you for recreating an unforgettable era in movie history. Thank you, boys. Hey, look out. Hey. Thank you, Delroy.
Oh, boy. What a surprise this is.
But the Keystone Cops are far from being your only claim to fame, Mack Sennett. You made Mabel Normand a great star. You gave Charlie Chaplin his first chance. Fatty Arbuckle started as one of your Keystone Cops. You discovered Gloria Swanson. Their names are legion. Charlie Murray, Harry Langdon, Ben Turpin, Marie Prevost, Holly Moran, Carol Lombard, Kala Pasha, and yes, believe it or not, Bing Crosby. We could go W.C. Fields, yes, sir. We could go on almost forever, Mack Sennett. Who, for example, will ever forget the Mack Sennett bathing beauties? Another first, as you made motion picture history. And many of these girls went on to stardom.
I started out as a Mack Sennett bathing beauty at $12 a week.
Now, an important voice out of your past, Mr. Sennett. Whose is it? You gave her start. She rose to stardom and is remembered and loved by all of us. From Lime Rock, Connecticut, she interrupted the Florida vacation to come here. Phyllis Haver.
Oh!
Phyllis Haver!
My God! Darling! Well, I haven't seen you in years.
Well, since 32.
Since 32?
That's right.
Well, Phyllis, I'm
Bless
really
your
glad to...
dear heart. It's so lovely to see you.
Well, thank you. My golly, isn't this terrific? Rose Guilfoyle?
Yeah.
Phyllis. Oh, boy.
I don't have to tell you that I owe everything to you for my career. You taught me everything I know about acting.
Oh, you're a wonderful girl.
Or knew about acting.
You're a wonderful
I haven't acted for a long, long time.
Well, anyway, darling.
Bless you.
Thank you, Phyllis Haver, a great star and a great lady. Thank you. Thank you.
Why, where do you dig them up? My God.
The procession of comedies continues through the years, each leaving the indelible stamp of the master, you, Mack Sennett.
Mr. Sennett, couldn't you please have somebody throw a pie at me?
Another Mack Sennett great, Franklin Pangborn. Franklin Franklin, what is this odd request you have wanting someone to throw a pie at you?
Well, you see, Ralph, I did a few pictures with Mr. Sennett, and I began to feel that I didn't belong to the Sennett gang because nobody was throwing any pies at me.
Well, did you? Get a pie in your face eventually?
Did I? Not only pies, but wedding cakes, too. And, I want to tell you, I was thrown into more pools and ponds. But really, I want to tell you, Ralph, what I learned from the boss was timing. And whenever he was on the set, he said, listen, Frank, will you please learn not to anticipate these gags? Yeah.
That's right.
But you got to learn to do it with your eyes wide open. Oh,
Frank,
boss.
I'm glad to see you.
Boss, I want to tell you, all those years of work with you, I want to tell you, will live in my heart forever.
Thank you very much. Franklin Pangborn. Thank you. Very much. First, here's Bob Warren with a word about Prell shampoo.
The old problem, ladies, of what to do when this happens. You get a phone call. You're invited to a party. You're really feeling happy. And then you see yourself in the mirror. Wow, how can you go out when your hair looks so lifeless and dull? Well, here's the new answer to that old problem. Liquid Prell, the only liquid shampoo that's extra rich. Some other shampoos are thin and watery. Some so thick and sticky they can actually dull your hair. But Liquid Prell is completely different. Not too thin, not too thick, but just right, with radiant beauty in every drop. Now, look at your hair after one luxurious Liquid Prell shampoo. Liquid Prell is extra rich. That's why it leaves your hair looking radiantly alive. Smooth, shining, soft to touch. Try new, extra rich Liquid Prell. You'll love it.
Time flies. Your motion picture career spanned over 25 years, Mack Sennett, from 1909 to 1935. Few men will be better remembered than will you, especially by the stars whose careers you fostered. But suppose we let some of them speak for themselves. Leading lady to Charlie Chaplin, Chester Conklin, and Fatty Arbuckle, Minta Durfee Arbuckle. Here, Minta Durfee. Oh,
Well, well. Jolly well you look.
Thank you, you too. You know, Mac, you were the greatest producer and the greatest writer and the greatest director of your time. And another thing so lovely about you. Now stand up.
I know, but I can't stand anymore. I'm dying.
Not yet.
All right, go ahead.
But listen, I want to tell you, you were the most loyal and the most delightful friend anybody ever had. And you know that you were so unselfish. I think that's one reason why you were never a millionaire. And Ralph Edwards, I want to tell you something. He was the most thrilling boss that I have ever had in my life. And God bless you, dear, and you look like a million.
Thank you, Minta Durfee Arbuckle. Thank you. Oh. Now, there's another great star and good friend of yours, Mr. Sennett, Alberta Vaughn.
Oh, yeah.
Alberta Vaughn!
Well, I was practically a child when I started working for you.
You were, yeah.
And you taught me all the comedy I
Oh, we thought of it.
Oh, thanks a million.
Thank you, Alberta Vaughn. Thank you. Now, there's a gentleman we all remember as a favorite leading man, and more recently as one of the stars of Ken Murray's Blackout, Jack Mulhall. Here's the boy,
You know, this is tough out here. I want to tell you, when they throw these things at you like they've been thrown at me.
It really is, Mac, but I want to tell you that this is probably one of the greatest thrills in my life. I'm as thrilled tonight being here with you as I was when you chose me out of all of the leading men in Hollywood to play opposite Mabel Normand of beloved memory in Molly O. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack Mulhall. Thank you. Another star you helped create, Mr. Sennett, and this is one of the brightest, Sally Eilers. Hey. How about that, kid? Hello, Sally.
Oh, boy. I'm glad to see you.
Mr. Sennett, do you remember when you taught me to do that trick?
That picture
can't
is
remember everything.
Well, when I was chosen the Baby Wampus star, I was terribly frightened, and we appeared in a little box, and I said, Mr. Sennett, what will I do? And you said, well, just be fixing your garden. And I did, and it worked.
I'm glad to see you. Really.
Thank you for starting me on my career, and I love you very much.
Thank you very much, Sally Eilers. Pretty pleasant. Now, look to our archway, Mr. Sennett. Here comes one of the great picture comedians of our time, Louise Fazenda.
Really.
Oh,
He didn't mince any words, and he said one of the greatest comedians of our time.
Now, look, no, because I have to say things about you. This is your evening.
Well, I have to say this about you first.
Oh, Mac,
Yeah.
I hope my husband's listening.
Oh, Mac.
Remember when I worked with Teddy and Pepper, that hat of yours?
I know.
And you know what he did once?
What, Mr. Sennett?
He put me in tight. The biggest one.
Yeah, well...
Oh,
Well, I'm
gee,
glad to
Mac.
see you.
I have to add a little bit to your eulogy, though. You taught us all about comedy. Yes, you did.
They're going all these
Oh, Mac, you did. And you just are responsible for all of it. Thank you, Mac.
Thank you, Louise Fazenda. You did the gig. Well, sit down, Mr. Sennett. Since 1935, Mac Sennett, your monumental contribution to motion pictures completed. You've been living in semi-retirement here in Hollywood. Still, your eyes are on the future, as your heart must be with the past.
And what a path it's been for all of us. But the path you made, Mr. Sennett, made it easier for those who followed.
Now, whose voice is that, Mr. Sennett? In 1915, he started out with you, not as a comedian, but as a young leading man. He went on to become one of the true immortals of the screen, Harold Lloyd, ladies and gentlemen. Harold Lloyd!
Oh, my God. Do you remember the joke I tell about you? Here is a great man. Now, I'm glad to see you.
Mr. Sennett, I can't tell you how proud I am to be part of this great tribute to you. Mac, you deserve every bit of it. And I speak not only for myself, but for the entire motion picture industry. Believe me, Mac, you have brought laughter into the lives of millions of people. And I can think of no finer cure for all the troubles that constantly beset all of us. And, of course, there'll always be comedy, whether it's on the screen, whether it's in television, radio, no matter what medium. But there's only one Max Sennett.
Well, I don't know, Harold. This is
Really,
this
Max?
is getting awfully strong.
And Max, you've been a true leader in your chosen profession. You've been a great contributor to the motion picture industry. And I'm telling you, you've been really an inspiration to all of us that have followed in your footsteps. And they've been pretty big footsteps, Max.
You bet they have been big footsteps. Thank you, Harold Lloyd. Thank you very much. Mr. Sennett, be seated. Miss Sheff, you come around and sit by him here. This is your life, Max Sennett. You gave the world a new comedy art form because you recognized the human foibles of all of us and exaggerated them for all of us to see on the screens of the world. Miss Sheff, you be seated here by Mr. Sennett. Now, recognizing this, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences awarded you its coveted Oscar. Your fabulous past is gathered around you here, paying tribute to you, Max Sennett. In a moment, we're going to take a look into your future. But first, here's a message for those of you who want your family to enjoy stronger, healthier teeth.
In several western towns, children rarely got tooth decay. Why? Their drinking water contained fluoride. Now, after years of fluoride research, Procter & Gamble proudly announces triumph over tooth decay, available to everyone, everywhere, as it brings you Crest toothpaste with Floristan, its exclusive stannous fluoride formula, greatest decay preventive in any toothpaste. Here's how Crest works. Crest with Floristan actually combines with and strengthens tooth enamel to lock out decay from within. Yes, with Crest, you and your family will have far fewer cavities. Your teeth will be strengthened against decay, and regular Crest use will keep them that way. Crest helps keep your teeth beautiful, blocks out bad breath as it locks out decay. Start now to triumph over tooth decay. Get Crest with Floristan, greatest decay preventive in any toothpaste.
Thank you very much. Now, let's take a look here into your future. The memory of you, Max Sennett, should be properly perpetuated here in Hollywood. The lot where you made motion picture history has recently been purchased by the National Van Lines, as you know. They feel as we do. So here is the president of the National Van Lines, Mr. F.L. McKee. Mr. McKee, I wonder if you'd come out, please. Mr. McKee. Here you are, Max Sennett, Mr. McKee.
I think you'll like the place out there. It's a great location, and it's a lucky location. It's a very lucky location.
I'm happy to tell you, Mr. Sennett, that National Van Lines, honoring you, will erect an obelisk on our property, designating the location of the original Max Sennett studio, and bearing a bronze plaque. It reads, "This is the birthplace of a new form of motion picture comedy. Here the genius of Max Sennett took root, and laughter grew around the world. Here movie history was made. Here stars were born. Here reigns and still reigns the king of comedy, Max Sennett."
Fine. Thank you, Mr. F.L. McKee. And right after the show, Max Sennett, you and all your friends who have gathered here to pay tribute to you are invited to attend a party on the very lot that holds so many great memories for all of you, where scores of other old friends, sit down, sir, will be there to say hello. This is your life, Max Sennett. You've given friendship from the bottom of your heart to all who are associated with you. To the world, you've given laughter. Your life is an inspiration to all young people, not only in show business, but in all walks of life. Others will carry forward the ideas and the work you fostered, but your name will live in our hearts always. Thank you, Max Sennett. May God bless you.
One of TV's most famous prime-time big-money game shows was 21. Premiering in 1956, the show was hosted by Jack Barry, who also helped to create it. Each week, two contestants competed against each other to reach 21 points first by answering questions worth between 1 and 11 points. Sweating it out in isolation booths, the players struggled to answer the questions. Neither contestant knew the other's score. The show was suspenseful, the questions challenging, and the prizes won kept getting bigger. Unfortunately, after the first show, it was also rigged. Producers didn't want to gamble their ratings on smart but boring contestants, so those with more popularity potential were given the answers ahead of time. In 1958, disgruntled contestant Herb Stempel blew the whistle, and 21 went off the air soon after, along with several other of the big money shows. 21 is more than a quiz show. It's a piece of television history. The scandal caused by game show rigging launched a congressional investigation that eventually led to legislation that made it illegal. The drama was immortalized in the movie Quiz Show. See what all the fuss was about in this classic example of television's most notorious game show, 21.
Good evening. I'm Jack Barry. In a moment, Hank Bloomgarten and Jim Snodgrass will resume their match. To date, they have tied 6 times. Tonight, they'll be playing at $3,500 a point. Let's meet them as Geritol, the high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast, presents 21.
Back for the 5th week, Mr. James Snodgrass. And returning with $52,500, Mr. Hank Bloomgarten.
Well, gentlemen, here we are again. You both know what happened. It's no mystery to you, and you know exactly what's going to happen here in just a few moments. But before we explain to our home and studio audience exactly the results of the mix-up that occurred 2 weeks ago, Hank, how are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you, Jack.
You've had a hectic week, I know.
Yes.
2 weeks.
It's over now.
Yes, it is. Or virtually over. Now it starts in all again.
Right.
And, Jim, I know you've been very busy with your art exhibit down in Greenwich Village. How's it coming along?
Oh, we're doing great guns down there.
Is that right?
Yes.
I know you're successful because from all indications you were really one of our fine young artists and are going to have a great career. Well, gentlemen, let's review what happened 2 weeks ago. As you may recall, you each chose an 11-point question which asked for the 5 groups of bones in our spine. Now, Jim, your first answer was sacrum. Now, all I have here in front of me are these question cards, and there are answers on there which are approved in advance of the program. Well, sacrum was not on the answer card, so I had to rule you wrong. Then, Hank, you proceeded to name the 5 groups, and you named as one of them coccyx. Well, my answer card did call for coccyx or coccygeal, so I had to rule you right, and you won an awful lot of money. Well, immediately after the program, there were thousands of phone calls, hundreds from doctors, and we found out that there was an inconsistency in the answers. Well, the Encyclopedia Britannica checked with Dr. Fishbein, who has for 25 years been the editor of the Journal of the American Medical Association, and he gave us his opinion, and we took it as a final and official ruling. He said to us that if I called you wrong with sacrum, Jim, then I automatically had to call you wrong with coccyx, Hank, and that's the way it worked out. Well, we went through a great deal trying to find out how we should square this out with both of you in an effort to be fair in our decision, and here's what we decided to do. We decided that you're both going to play the game over again at $3,500 a point, right back where we were. But Hank, NBC and our sponsor Geritol are going to guarantee the $52,500 that you had in the event that you should lose to Jim Snodgrass. That's going to be yours regardless of what happens. Now, do you consider this fair enough, Hank?
Yes, I certainly do. I think it's very fair and equitable.
And Jim, how about you?
Yes, I think it's very fair.
Good enough. Well, gentlemen, you're both good sports about it. We're sorry to cause you this inconvenience. A lot of money is at stake, a great deal of tension. And one more thing, Hank, just for the record, what is your exact work?
I do public relations work in an educational sense for some medical research organizations.
You yourself are a medical researcher, or are you not?
No, I'm not a medical researcher. I've never studied medicine, nor do I have a degree in science. I don't do any medical research at all.
Good. That should answer the question that's been in the minds of thousands of people around the country. Gentlemen, here we go. $3,500 a point once again. We're back at $52,500. Take your place in the studios. Put on your earphones. Sincerely, good luck to both of you.
Thank
Neither player inside can hear anything until I turn their studios on. They can't see anybody in the studio audience, nor can they hear the applause. I'm going to turn both studios on right now. Can you hear me all right, Jim?
Very well, thank you.
And Hank?
Fine, thanks.
All right, gentlemen, this is going to be the game of all games, so I'll give you a second to get relaxed in there, all right? And then we'll get right on with it. Now, while our players are settling down for the big game, I'd like to step away from this set for just a moment to show you something. And here it is. A display of Geritol that you're likely to see in most any drugstore. Now, you've heard me tell you about Geritol time and time again, but you'll never know what Geritol can do for you until you try it.
Well, pardon the interruption, Jack, but may I add something to that?
You certainly may, Bob. Shoot.
Well, thank you very much. You know, friends, millions of people have tried Geritol, and they have discovered that this high-potency tonic is everything that Jack says it is.
Thank you, Bob. So, friends, remember, if you feel tired and run down, the trouble may be due to iron deficiency anemia, or as we call it, tired blood. Check with your doctor. And if tired blood is your problem, you take Geritol. Take it in either the liquid or in the tablet form, and take it every day. You'll feel stronger and fast, too, within 7 days, or you get your money back.
And mothers, after sickness, help your child gain strength fast. Give him Geritol Jr., the ideal tonic for growing children.
Now, on we go with our game. Hank, remember, $3,500 a point. I'll get back to you in just a moment.
Right.
All right, Jim, you know how the game works. Try to get to 21 as fast as you can. $3,500 a point. The first category is Shakespeare. How many points do you want to try for from 1 to 11?
I'll take 11, please.
11 points, the most difficult question we have on Shakespeare. The following are 5 kings whom we meet in Shakespeare's plays. First, Claudius. Second, Duncan. Third, Oberon, O-B-E-R-O-N. Fourth, Alonzo. Tell us, first, the names of the plays in which each appears. I'm sorry, there are 4 kings here, if I'm not mistaken, rather than 5. 4. Tell us first the names of the plays in which each appear, and second, the names of the countries or the peoples over which each rules. Shall we go back and take them one at a time?
Yes, please.
All right. First on my list is Claudius. The name of the play.
Claudius is Hamlet's uncle in Hamlet.
Hamlet was all that was required. That is right. The name of the country or people over which he ruled.
That would be Denmark.
That is correct. Second, Duncan.
Duncan is murdered by Macbeth, by Macbeth and Mrs. Macbeth.
Macbeth is my answer. I will accept that.
Yes, Macbeth is the play.
And the country ruled over?
Scotland.
Correct. Third, Oberon.
That is the Midsummer Night's Dream.
Correct. And the country or groups of people over which he ruled?
He's the king of the fairies.
That is correct. Fourth and finally, for a full 11 points, Alonso.
That's the Tempest.
Correct.
The King of Naples.
That is also correct, and you've got a full 11 points. All right, Jim, I'm going to turn your studio off.
Right.
I'll get back to you in just a moment. You're off to a very good start.
Right.
Hank Bloomgarden, at $3,500 a point. The first category, Shakespeare. How many points from 1 to 11?
I'll take 10 points, please.
One of our more difficult questions, 10 points. All of the following Shakespearean characters met untimely, violent deaths. In each case, tell us at whose hands each of these characters met his death. First, Hamlet. Second, Laertes. Third, Tybalt. Fourth, Richard III. And fifth, Othello. Shall we go back over them one at a time?
Please.
First, Hamlet.
Hamlet was killed in a duel with Laertes. He was killed by Laertes.
Correct. Second, Laertes.
Well, Laertes was killed in that same duel. He was killed in turn by Hamlet.
They had a fine time, these fellows. You've got 2 of them. Third, Tybalt. T-Y-B-A-L-T.
Tybalt killed Romeo killed Tybalt.
Correct. You've got 3 of them. Fourth, Richard III.
Richard III was killed by the Earl of Richmond, who later became Henry VII.
All I required, actually, is Earl of Richmond. That is right for the 4th part. Finally, for a full 10 points, Othello.
Othello killed... Desdemona's wife who killed Othello. Othello killed himself. Othello killed Othello.
You're right for a full 10 points. I'll get back to you in just a moment, Hank. Jim Snodgrass, you have 11 points. The category, American Revolution. How many points do you want, from 1 to 11?
I'll try for 21. Means 10.
10 points, which if answered correctly would give you 21. Because you're trying for 21, you're entitled to extra time if you need it. Here is your question. On October 17th, 1777, a British general surrendered his entire army to an American general after the battle which is often referred to as the turning point of the Revolutionary War. Tell us first the name of this famous battle, second, the name of the defeated British general, and third, the name of the victorious American to whom he surrendered. That's the question. Do you understand it all, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Do you need some extra time?
Yes, please.
I'll tell you when your time is up, and good luck. For 10 points, which if answered correctly would give you 21. Please remember, if you answer correctly, you must still wait for Hank, who has one more turn to go. I want you to tell me first the name of the famous battle I have described.
Well, the turning point of the American Revolution was the Battle of Saratoga.
That's correct. Second, the name of the defeated British general.
That is, or was, Lord Burgoyne, or General Burgoyne.
Also correct. One more part answered correctly will give you the required 21. The name of the victorious American to whom he surrendered.
General Gates.
You're right, and that's 21 points. You've done it again, Jim Snodgrass. You have 21 points, but Hank still has a turn to go. I'm going to allow you to listen, but please do not speak. Let's see what happens. Hank Bloomgarten, you have 10 points. The category, American Revolution. How many do you want, from 1 to 11?
I'll try the 11. I'll try for 21.
You're going all the way. I can tell you now, the usual that I must tell you, for your own sake, precaution. Jim Snodgrass has already scored 21 points. If you answer correctly, there will be another tie, and we will have to play another game at $4,000 a point. If you miss, I'm not going to bother you with the figures. Here is your question for 11 points. If you need some extra time, you can have it. Give us the full names of the following outstanding figures of the American Revolution. First, this patriot, member of the First Continental Congress and signer of the Declaration of Independence, was a leader of the famous Boston Tea Party. Second, this patriot financier nominated George Washington for president of the Constitutional Convention of 1787. Third, this diplomat and jurist resigned the presidency of the Continental Congress in 1779 to become minister to Spain. And fourth and finally, in June 1776, this man introduced into Congress a resolution which declared that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. I want the full names of those outstanding figures. Understand the question?
Yes. Could you just repeat the third part, please?
The third part. This diplomat and jurist resigned the presidency of the Continental Congress in 1779 to become minister to Spain. Want some extra time?
Please.
All right, Hank. I'll tell you when your time is up, and good luck. Your time is up for 11 points, which if answered correctly would give you 21, and a tie again for another game which we'd have to play, or if you miss would put you back down to 0 and lose you a great deal here. The question, once again, let's take it one at a time. This patriot, member of the First Continental Congress and signer of the Declaration of Independence, was a leader of the famous Boston Tea Party. I need his full name.
That was Samuel Adams.
Correct. Second, this patriot financier nominated George Washington for president of the Constitutional Convention of 1787.
Was Robert Morris.
I beg your pardon?
Robert Morris.
That is correct. You've got half of them. Third, this diplomat and jurist resigned the presidency of the Continental Congress in 1779 to become minister to Spain.
He was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. John Jay.
Correct. Fourth, and finally, if this is answered correctly, we'll have another tie. In June 1776, this man introduced into Congress a resolution which declared that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states.
It was Richard Henry Lee.
That's absolutely right for 21 points. Gentlemen, you two fellows are absolutely phenomenal. We have another tie. I think by now you both know what happens. We go up the ladder again. Instead of playing at $3,500 a point, we must play another game at $4,000 a point, which means that in the next game, over $80,000 will be at stake. I think that calls for these fellows to get a little bit of a break. Gentlemen, relax for a second if you can. And you too, Jim. And we'll get back to you in just a moment. On with the game in just a moment.
When the clock strikes 3 in the morning, are you often still wide awake, your nerves on edge, unable to fall asleep? Well, if you can't sleep at night because of simple nervousness, overwork, or over-fatigue, try Sominex. The new aid to sleep that, taken as directed, brings 100% safe sleep. Remember, and this is important, Sominex contains no barbiturates, no bromides, no narcotics, and it's non-habit forming. What's more, Sominex's combination of special ingredients helps calm down jittery nerves, helps you feel more relaxed. So remember, friends, for a real night's sleep, take Sominex as directed for more natural-like sleep with 100% safety. In the morning, you wake up refreshed without morning after grogginess. Get Sominex at your drugstore. No prescription needed. Money back if you're not satisfied.
That's good advice, Bob. Friends, if you can't sleep, you try Sominex. It really works. Incidentally, all questions used on 21 have been authenticated for accuracy and order of difficulty by the editorial board of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Gentlemen, on we go. I have been informed there is $84,000 at stake in this next game. All ready, Hank?
Yes, I am.
I'm going to turn your studio off, and I'll get back in a moment. Good luck. And good luck to you, Jim Snodgrass. On we go with the game at $4,000 a point. The first category, political leaders. How many points do you want from 1 to 11?
I'll try 11.
Once again, our most difficult question for 11 points. The following men were rallying forces behind various political movements during the last 10 years. First, a Frenchman born in, I'm not sure, this Saint, S-A-I-N-T, Saint-C-E-R-E, the owner of a small stationery and bookstore who wanted to reform the tax system. Second, a pro-Greek archbishop who wants his island home freed from British rule. Third, an Egyptian army officer who first headed his country's government after the exile of King Farouk. And fourth, an African who, while serving a prison sentence, was elected prime minister of what has since become the new nation, Ghana. Shall we go right back to the beginning again for 11 points? A Frenchman born in Saint-Cyr, C-E-R-E, the owner of a small stationery and bookstore who wanted to reform the tax system. Who is he?
That is Pierre Poujade, P-O-U-J-A-D-E.
That's correct. Second, a pro-Greek archbishop who wants his island home freed from British rule.
Archbishop Macarius.
Correct. You've got half of them. Third, an Egyptian army officer who first headed his country's government after the exile of King Farouk.
I don't know his full name. His last name is Naguib, N-A-G-U-I-B, I believe.
That's all right. You've got it fine. Naguib is all right. You've got 3 of them. One more for a full 11 points. An African who, while serving a prison sentence, was elected prime minister of what has since become the new nation, Ghana.
I must confess, I don't know.
Give you a couple extra seconds, Jim. There's a lot at stake here. If you want to guess, by all means, do so.
I've seen it in the newspaper thousands of times. It does no good.
No good.
No good.
Well, like you, I have seen it thousands of times, too. I'm not sure I can pronounce it, but I think it's Nkrumah, N-K-R-U-M-A-H. I'm terribly sorry, Jim. You don't score anything. You don't lose anything either. You stay at 0. Better luck on the next round. Hank Bloomgarten at $4,000 a point. The category is political leaders. How many points do you want from 1 to 11?
I'll take 10 points, please.
10 points, one of our difficult questions. This year, a special Senate committee headed by Senator Kennedy of Massachusetts submitted to the Senate the names of 5 outstanding former senators as candidates to have their portraits hung in the Senate reception room. Name these 5 senators. Understand the question, all right?
Yes.
Well, you just knock them off if you can. You have to give 5 of them for a full 10 points.
Robert Taft, pardon me, was 1.
That is 1.
Henry Clay.
That's 2.
John Calhoun.
You've got 3 of them. 2 to go.
Daniel Webster.
You've got 4. You need 1 more for a full 10 points.
Taft. Robert La Follette of Wisconsin.
You're right. You've got 10 points. I'll get back to you in a moment, eh? Jim, you have no points yet. The category is quotations. How many points do you want from 1 to 11?
I'll try 11 again.
The most difficult question on quotations. We repeat the following quotations so often that it is sometimes difficult to remember who originated them. Tell us who wrote the following lines first. Number 1, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Second, there never was a good war or a bad peace. Third, a woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke. Fourth, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Shall we go back to the first one?
Yes.
First, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Who wrote that first?
That's from In Memoriam by Tennyson.
That is correct. Second, there never was a good war or a bad peace.
Benjamin Franklin.
That is correct. You've got 2 of them. 2 to go. A woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke.
A woman is... Rudyard Kipling.
Correct. Fourth and finally for 11 points. If winter comes, can spring be far behind?
The Ode to the West Wind by Shelley.
That is right, for a full 11 points. Get back to you in a moment, Jim. Hank Bloomgarten, you have 10 points. The category is quotations. How many points do you want from 1 to 11?
I'll try for 21 again. I'll take the 11-point question.
We'll
please.
try 11 for 21. If you need some extra time, because you are trying for 21, of course you can have it. Here it is. We repeat the following quotations so often that it is sometimes difficult to remember who originated them. Tell us who wrote the following lines first? Number one, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. Second, there never was a good war or a bad peace. Third, a woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke. Fourth, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Got them all okay? Want some extra time to think over your answer?
Please, yes.
I'll tell you when your time is up, and good luck. For 11 points, which would give you 21 and a victory. Tell me first, who first originated this quotation? 'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
That was Alfred Lord Tennyson.
Correct. Second, there never was a good war or a bad peace.
That was written by Benjamin Franklin.
Also correct. You have half of them. Third, a woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke.
That woman is only a woman, but a good cigar is a smoke. That was Rudyard Kipling.
Also correct. Fourth and finally, if this is answered correctly, you will have scored 21 points and another victory. If winter comes, can spring be far behind?
It's either Shelley or Keats. I always get the two of them confused. If I were to take a guess, I'd probably say Shelley.
I can't accept a guess, though. I'll have to give a definitive answer from you, Hank.
Not sure it could also be Keats. Winter comes, can spring be far behind?
I'm going to have to call in a few moments for your answer, Hank. I don't want to rush you in any way, but...
I'll say Shelley.
Then you are right for 21 points. Congratulations, Hank Bloomgarden. Ladies and gentlemen, you've scored, Hank, 21 points. Your opponent has 11. There's a difference of 10 points in your score. At $4,000 a point, you've just won an additional $40,000. Added to the $52,500, you are still champion and winner of $92,500. Congratulations.
Jim?
Well, boy, it was some battle all the way down the line.
Sure was.
Fellas, stay here with me 1 second, both of you, will you? Because we want to get on with a few remarks to both of you. But right now, I see Bob Shepard over there, and he just seems to have his ups and downs. Bob?
Well, thank you very much, Jack. You know, friends, when the thermometer goes up, your energy often goes down. Now, people with low blood iron often feel the heat more. And now that we're entering the summer season, here's a suggestion. You know, that tired, dragged-out feeling that you may experience at this time of the year could very likely be due to iron deficiency anemia, or as we call it, tired blood. To help keep your strength and energy up this summer, start now to take Geritol, either the liquid or the tablets. And take Geritol every day. Now, this high-potency tonic actually begins to strengthen tired blood in just 24 hours. You'll feel stronger fast, within 7 days, or your money back.
Thank you, Bob, for converting what I've said. Jim, as you know the rules of the game, you get $4,000. We're playing at $4,000 a point. I want to come down to your art exhibit. Exactly where is it?
I'm on the east side of Fifth Avenue between 8th Street and 9th Street.
I want to buy one of your paintings.
Yes,
Indeed, I do.
Please do.
And Hank's going to buy one, too, or I'm going to wring his arm and make him do it.
Jack, if you can afford to buy one, I'm going to buy two, because I think Jim has exhibited such wonderful knowledge here. I'm sure that it turns up in his creative work as well.
Gentlemen, you're both wonderful sports. Congratulations. Hank, see you next week, and congratulations. Jim, sorry I couldn't be a lot more money. Good night. I hope you remember what I told you about Geritol, the high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast. Be with us next week to see if Hank Bloomgarden takes his $92,500 and quits, or whether he continues to go on. See you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Transportation is arranged by American Airlines, American choice of experienced travelers everywhere, and famous for the Mercury, luxury leader in the world of flight.
Being fat is no laughing matter, and rigid starvation diets are pure torture, dangerous too. But now with the RDX full stomach reducing plan, you can eat plenty and still lose ugly fat. Clinically tested, safe RDX tablets help reduce your craving for fattening foods. You eat plenty, suffer no hunger tantrums, yet fat just seems to melt away. So if your doctor has told you to lose weight, try pleasant tasting RDX. Contains no dangerous drugs, no hormones. Get RDX today.
Geritol, America's #1 tonic. Geritol, the fast-acting, high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger.